What are the best cars you can buy in 2025? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. I've got 6 categories of cars: small cars, family cars, luxury cars, coupes and convertibles, sports cars and performance cars. And in each category there will be a top pick, a runner-up, an electric pick and a used pick. Every used pick is below 7 years old and would have below 40,000 miles on the clock. And in addition to that, I've also got a budget pick, where I found the best car you can buy from every class if you're shopping on a shoestring. These are used cars. If you want to see the full buyer's guide format, head over to www.ontheroadwithalex.com to see my digital buyer's guide. For small cars, my top choice is the Renault Clio. In 2023, the Renault Clio was facelifted at a time when people were very pessimistic about the small car class, with the departure of the Ford Fiesta. The new Clio though really is all the car you could ever realistically need in a small suit. It's great to drive, has lots of modern tech, has lots of boot space and looks good too. Most importantly, it's still very well priced. One complaint though with the Clio is the powertrains. There really needs to be an engine in between the underpowered 1.2 litre engine and the more expensive 1.6 litre hybrid, which is my pick of the range. My runner-up is the MG3, and unlike the Clio, its biggest selling point is its powertrain. It's a 1.5 litre hybrid engine and it can send the car from 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, which is truly incredible, all while keeping the price exceptionally low. It's also good to drive and has a good ride. It's not quite as good as the Clio though, and the MG doesn't have a great reliability record. The Jeep Avenger is my top electric pick. Stellantis has had a rough time recently, and although the Avenger doesn't offer anything new to the table, I think it's a great all-rounder and looks cool as well. The Fiesta is my top used pick. I would look for one in titanium spec at 7 years old with just under 40,000 miles. One I found will set you back just under £8,000. My budget find was an old 2004 Micra with only 34,000 miles on the clock. At £1,500, it's pretty good value. The family car class is the most important and is by far the most popular category of car in the UK. This year it combines estates, SUVs, hatchbacks and saloons, so it's even more important than usual. My winner is the Citroën C5X. It's been a runner-up many times on the buyer's guide, but I decided to give it the win this year, especially with the addition of a new powertrain. The C5X in my mind provides everything owners actually want from a family car. It's got a comfy ride, a practical upmarket interior, and a new hybrid engine means that fuel economy is 15% better than the regular 1.2 litre engine. Although it's not much faster than 0 to 60 with this new engine, pickup when you push down is noticeably more responsive. Most importantly though, the C5X is great value for money. In my recommended spec, it's £32,000 and there are plenty of offers on the C5X available. My runner-up is the Skoda Superb. Much like the C5X, it gets everything that owners want right, and it's even more practical than the C5X. It's not quite as soft riding though, or as at market as the C5X, and is quite a bit more expensive. The Renault Scenic is my electric pick. It's got an excellent range, good kit levels and is very well priced. The used family car was the hardest pick for me, as there are simply so many great options out there. I ended up going with the VW Arteon. If you want sporty looks and family-friendly internals, you don't need to look much further. I recommend the 2 litre diesel. A 2019 example with 39,000 miles with this engine will set you back £17,500. My budget pick is the Mazda 6. After owning a Mazda 3, I can confirm that Mazdas from the late noughties are such a solid choice. There's nothing to fault with them. The Mazda 6 Tourer is a super practical family car, and I found a nice 2006 example with one owner and 67,000 miles for £2,500. Next up is the luxury car class, and it was probably the easiest to decide upon. Ultimately, the BMW X7 won it. It's just as luxurious as the saloon rivals, yet it's also supremely practical. The Mercedes-Benz S-Class came runner-up. The plug-in hybrid is my pick, thanks to its exceptionally well-engineered setup and very long electric range. It's a shame it's not quite as refined as BMW's best though. That brings me on to the BMW i7, which is my electric pick. Objectively, it's the best car you can buy pretty much, but it is let down by a range that's a little bit off the mark. My used choice is amazing value for money, especially since it's still in production. The Audi AA is a great choice, new, but when you can buy nearly the same car used, with 25,000 miles on the clock for just £28,500, it's such great value. Great value also applies to my budget choice. A well-presented BMW 730D from 2005 with 2 owners and 54,000 miles on the clock can be yours for just £3,500. Back in the day, this was the most refined car you could buy. For coupes and convertibles, BMW and Mercedes take the win again. The BMW 4 Series wins it in the M440i, guys. It's such a great car to drive and it's far easier to live with than the outgoing models. It's a shame there's only two engine choices though. There's the 420i, which is a little lower in power, and although the M440i is excellent, it would be nice to have a 430d or 430i in between. The Mercedes CLE takes a rather different approach to the 4 Series, with a priority on comfort and refinement, which it does very well. I would choose it in rather expensive CLE 450, guys, because the 6-cylinder engine is a gem. It doesn't take the win though, because interior quality isn't quite as good as the 4 Series, and it's quite a bit more expensive than the 4 Series as well. There isn't much choice for electric coupes or convertibles, but the MG Cyberster is a solid choice. It looks great, it's very fast, it's comfortable, it's refined, and it's also well built. It's best to think of this car as a mini GT car though, because it's not got great agility. Both of my used picks are diesels, which you may scoff at in a coupe or convertible, but both powertrains are truly great. My top used pick is the BMW 430d. You can pick up a 2018 example with 39,000 miles on it for £18,000. The engine has lots of torque and is very economical. It's well built, plus it drives well, but its main drawback is that the inside is really dated. My budget pick is the rather forgotten Peugeot 407 Coupe. With a 2.7 litre HDI engine, it's punchy, very refined and economical. It's also very practical for 4 people as well. It's not great to drive though, and the interior isn't great either. But when you can pick up a 2007 example with 92,000 miles on the clock for £1,989, it's hard to complain. Choosing a top sports car in 2025 is very difficult, because different manufacturers have diverted down different routes. My top pick and runner-up, for example, are very different cars, but still manage to both be great sports cars. My top pick is the Lotus Emira because it follows the classic sports car recipe and is far easier to live with than Lotuses of old. People online complain about the price of the Emira, but for the badge and the looks, I think £86,000 isn't too bad. The Lotus Emira has great handling, a vocal engine and a good ride quality for UK roads. And the interior is very pleasant, although not quite as good as the interior found in the Porsche Cayman. My runner-up is the BMW M2. It definitely doesn't have the agility of the Lotus, but it places a lot of emphasis on fun. The steering is nice, and classic BMW, you get the sensation of being pushed out of corners. The car can now at last be fitted with a manual gearbox and no extra cost. My electric pick is without question the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. No electric car comes close to the fun derived from this car. On top of being great to drive, performance is excellent. It's practical and has fast charging. For my used pick, I'm always having second thoughts because there's so many other options that are pretty much as good as my overall choice. I've chosen the Renault Megane RS. Renault just got the recipe just right with the Renault Megane RS. It looks great too. It's not the easiest car to live with, but it is a sports car after all. Cars like the Fiesta ST, the Hyundai i30N and the BMW M140i were all very close contenders, but at the end of the day I had to pick one. A 2018 example with 35,000 miles on the clock from Cinch will cost just £17,000. My budget pick was quite easy because unlike MR2s and Mazda MX-5s, the prices haven't gone through the roof yet. The MG-F is such a fun car to drive and easily recommendable as a weekend car. I say weekend car because the MG-F isn't the easiest car to live with on a day-to-day basis, but when you are in the mood, it doesn't disappoint. I think this is the best value car on this list, with a very tidy example on Auto Trader with the 1.8 litre engine costing £1,750 with only 28,000 miles. The final category is performance cars. I'm stuck with my pick from last year, the BMW M3 Touring. Genuinely unfaultable, apart from a bit of tyre noise. People are going to hate me for this, but I think it's one of the best looking estates on the market as well. Coming in second is the Aston Martin DB12. It's great to drive, yet it's also comfortable. And of course, being an Aston Martin, it's beautiful to look at. And I like how as a brand, Aston Martin isn't driven by annoying influencers like Lamborghini is. The biggest improvement over the old Aston Martins is the interior. Problems? Well, it's not overly practical and it's also quite expensive at £200,000, but I think the price isn't too bad when you compare it to the extortionate Vanquish and the near on just as expensive Mercedes SL, which from the exterior and the interior doesn't look anywhere near as spectacular as the DB12. My electric choice is the Porsche Taycan. With its recent facelift, the range is much improved, and it still does what Taycans have always been great at: performance, interior quality and handling. The used pick is the BMW M5. Much like the M3 Touring, it's nearly unfaultable, but it is a shame the steering isn't quite as nice as the M3's. A 2019 example with 39,000 miles on the clock will cost £38,000. My budget find is the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, mainly for its engine. This will be one of your last chances to get a car with a crazy engine for £9,000 with 103,000 miles on the clock. They may not be the most engaging cars to drive, but they're comfortable, and as I said, it has a wonderful engine. Anyway, that's all for this video. Tell me if you think I've missed anything out in the comments, but yeah, they're my top picks for 2025.